Well, if you look back over history, I think we're a lot more encouraged than we have in the past because every 10 years we've faced some pretty strong adversity since 1980, 90, and 2000. And right now I think we're in very good shape. Most of the growers are getting the moisture they need, and hopefully we'll get these showers throughout to finish out the crop, and I think we're looking pretty well right now. There's a couple of issues that's weighing on everybody's mind, particularly pertaining to peanuts, and of course food safety, and related to that, it's the allergy issue and some of the knee-jerk reactions that some states and some people are having toward that is something that is going to be an ongoing issue for peanuts as far as educational-wise. Other than that, the people are gearing up and looking at what do we need to do different in the next farm bill. We know the climate's going to be different. We know the funding levels are going to be very strained, and so we may have to be very innovative, and we've got to be very open-minded as we approach 2012. We can't automatically assume we can keep a program exactly in the same fashion we have now. There are certain things in regards to energy, and certain things in regards to environmental and conservation that we may have to work into the peanut program to play more of a role. Plus, we expect such things as direct payments, payment limits, those kind of things are going to be under attack as the government is looking to for more money for other programs, and it's going to be quite a challenge in trying to maintain our growers and their support at least at where it is now.
The Florida crop is progressing very close to normal right now. We've had a significant rainfall since planting, and right now we're pretty heavy in the blooming and pegging process. For the past week, 10 days, the rain has been very scattered, but up until that point we've had good rainfall, and I'd have to say that the crop has progressed very close to average right now. The peanuts grown in Florida are actually the number one row crop in the state of Florida. Of course, it's nothing like the citrus or the produce crops that are grown in the southern part of the state. But when you consider row crops, traditional row crops, it is the number one crop grown in Florida. Florida is still the fourth largest peanut producing state in the country. The biggest issue that producers face day in and day out is the continued escalation of production cost. Production cost continues to increase every year and sometimes almost daily. And while our crop prices remain pretty well of what they've been at a much lower level. So the profit margin that farmers realize is very, very small. So that's the toughest issue that we face from the day to day is continued increase in production cost. The future is healthy for peanuts in Florida. Our soil type is very compatible to grow peanuts. Our farmers rotate with cotton for the most part and corn, and our growers are interested to stay in the peanut business.
You know, right now we needed a little bit of stress on this crop. We didn't have it early on. We've gotten a little bit of hot weather, a little drier. We're putting a good root system on that peanut crop right now. So, you know, I have to at this point still be optimistic. I know folks worry that we've gone through this little hot, dry spell. But peanuts need a little bit of stress if they're going to make it later in the year. So I'm pretty optimistic about where we are right now with our crop. If they do the 2012 Farm Bill in 2010, it has the potential to be a real problem for us. If we get on out toward 2012, maybe we can keep something that is a little less prima donna-ish and a little more traditional for what we need in farm programs. Honestly, what farmers need is just a little better safety net than we've got right now, because the safety net we've got was done when costs weren't where they are. I guess we're still trying to figure out what does happen. It seems like the pundits say that we're going to see a change in Congress. As I looked at the Georgia primaries, there were some things that were real oddities there that happened in the Georgia primaries. But the problem is, whether we have new folks or old folks, we've still got a major job of educating folks as to why we need the things that we need.
Our year been pretty good. In fact, some parts of the state, the southern part of the state's 2 or 3 of the growers are saying they were off probably to the best start they've been in a number of years. But we did have some areas that were too wet at planting time, so we were late on planting for a few parts of the state, and then we had a couple of places, as always, that were a little bit dry. But for the most part, statewide, we've got a pretty good crop underway at this point. Everything is up to the point that it's even a lot of the middles have totally lapped, the peanuts are pegging. So our crop, for the most part, I just have to say it's in excellent condition at this point, assuming we continue to get the needed rain as we go through for those that don't have irrigation possibility. We're still increasing. We're up projected to be about 19% from last year. So we've got about 25,000 acres, which is a big number. We've been down in the lower mid-teens, 15, 16, 19,000. So at this point, that's a pretty good number for us. Now, whether that's actually materializes completely, but that's the projected number that's out there from the crop service estimate is 25,000 acres. So that's going to be, last year we harvested about 19,000. So that's going to be a big increase for us. They're all runner type, the runners, Georgia greens, and a big #1 variety that everybody talks about. And so we're kind of totally with that variety in some of the newer variations of that. Cost of production is up from the previous year, and our better growers are even noticing these inputs are a little bit higher than they've been being. But all in all, it's probably not a great deal of change from last year as far as the input costs, but it does have some effect, and fuel's helped a lot this year. It's dropped back down from last year's crop, so we've got some savings there, and then maybe a little increase in some of the other inputs. A lot of our growers have gone to using chicken litter, and that's enabled them to, at this point, from what they think they're getting, to make a little better value on their fertilizer, where they're not having to buy commercial fertilizer.